Man, oh man, do I absolutely love the NCAA ice hockey schedule. It's predictable, it happens every weekend, it gives us as fans time to breathe and digest everything that goes on, and of course, the NCAA schedule is famous for not being as heavy nor as intensive, games played-wise, compared to other junior hockey leagues like the CHL, for example. There's a lot of emphasis for these athletes that is placed on gym time and studies, so of course the NCAA has a very specific set of qualities that make it unique. But that does not discredit the hockey that goes on, especially for the prospects within. Today, we are talking about a Detroit Red Wings guy who is yet again giving us reasons to talk about him. I kind of get that throwback feeling. I feel like it's 2019, 2020 all over again, where every single week we were making videos about Cole Caulfield and how he'd gone out there and scored another hat trick or something. Today, we are talking about Detroit Red Wings prospect Max Plante. And yeah, I'm saying Plant now. Saw some footage. It's not Plante. Max Plante has given us another reason to talk about him as one of the Detroit Red Wings' most underrated and undervalued prospects in the system. Just in case you missed the video that we made last week about him, he's 19 years old, not 6 feet, he's 5'11", 176, a center, left-handed guy, drafted by the Detroit Red Wings in the 47th overall spot, second round in 2024. Now, obviously, 2024 draftee, it was just last year. Second round guys in that draft, not usually the biggest needle movers in terms of prospects and what have you. These aren't usually the guys that'll take over conversations because it's kind of early. Like, it's only been 1 year removed from the draft, right? But Max Plante is doing exactly that when you take a look at what he's been capable of doing in the NCAA. Last year, he was over a point per game with the Minnesota-Duluth not Golden Gophers, that's Minnesota, excuse me. Minnesota-Duluth is the Bulldogs. And this year, he's all the way up there at 22 points in 12 games played. 10 goals and 12 assists. Now, the interesting update that we have about Plante comes in the form of what the Bulldogs did just a few days ago. Because in a series of games versus the St. Cloud State University Huskies, you saw Max Plante getting himself 3 points on the weekend, an assist in the 4-0 first game on Friday, and then 2 points, a goal and an assist in overtime to take the win 3-2. Max Plante, by the way, scored the overtime winner as a beautiful one-timer on the right side. It was a nice play. We'll go over it a little bit later in this video, but the reason this is super significant is because now, if you take a look at it, Max Plante had 28 points in his first season in the NCAA. Then he had 22 in the season he's playing right now. Add those two numbers together, and Max Plante is all the way up there at 50 points in 35 NCAA games. Why is 50 points important, you might ask? Well, that's a great question. Let's go out there and look at the UMD Men's Ice Hockey Twitter page, and they'll tell us exactly what happened here. They went out there and posted this. With the game-winning goal scored by Max Plante, he reaches the 50-point mark in his career, surpassing Brett Hull as the fastest to score 50 in more than 4 decades. Take a look at that. Max Plante scored 50 NCAA points faster than Brett Hull did in 1984-1985. Now, look at the beautiful throwback right there. Hull with the Bulldogs jersey and the old helmet. That's such a beautiful piece of imagery right there. Brett Hull, of course, one of the most deadly NHL scorers the Red Wings and the league had ever seen. And he also was a Bulldog with University of Minnesota-Duluth. Max Plante just went out there and broke his record. Now, let's go out there and take a look at Brett Hull and his overall profile as a prospect and inevitable NHL superstar. Brett Hull was born in 1964, and then he was with the Bulldogs in 1984, 1985. He scored 60 points in his first year, but he did it in 48 games played. So obviously the games played is in Max Plante's favor. He's only had 35 total NCAA games played at the moment. But Hull then found himself in Calgary. He was a point scorer. Then he went to St. Louis and he had 70, 80 goal years. Hull was just an absolute stud. Then he found himself in Dallas before going over to Detroit. Had some success there with the Wings, capped off as a 68-point scorer in his final Detroit year. I think a lot of Wings fans will remember just the impact and what kind of a goal-scoring profile Brett Hull had as a National Hockey League superstar, one of the best players of all time. And Max Plante went out there and got to 50 points earlier. And let's see, how many games did it take for Hull to do that? I'm not too sure. Let's go out there and take a look at this article over here. Julian Trecker published this piece on RedWingsInsider.com. I was really intrigued by some of the content here. There's some comments from the man himself. Red Wings prospect surpasses Brett Hull with incredible feat. Take a look at this. The 47th overall pick, Max Plante, scored his 50th point. What's impressive is that he's the fastest player in NCAA history. Okay, I don't know if that's history. I think it's just with the Bulldogs, is it? Anyways, this is what he went out there and said about the 50th point that he had. I don't think we had our worst game. We just definitely didn't have our best game. The third period was our best period of the night. We were all over them. We could have scored a couple, 3 goals. We got one of them, fortunately. Thankfully, we got 2 points at the end. Coming around the net, I kind of didn't want them to edge me off, and I think I heard the crowd going nuts that I didn't shoot it. So I was just kind of thinking in practice I had that same shot probably like 2 or 3 times this week, and I scored. My dad always talked about if you're feeling good in practice, a lot of times you're going to score, and that sort of thing. I'm fortunate it went in, and glory to God, it was pretty nice. You then have the Max Plante overtime game-winning goal. Plante is the guy with the puck on the right side. He then throws it back to the D, then receives the pass one more time. He's got that one-timer right there on the right face-off circle. He blasts it by the goaltender, and that is his overtime winner and his 50th NCAA point in his collegiate career. Now he has overtaken Brett Hull, which is absolutely astounding here. I mean, you don't really need to articulate just how much of a feat this is for him to score this many points in this few amount of games played. Obviously, the fact that Max Plante was, at the time of our previous video, the #1 NCAA point scorer, at 19 years old, that's enough to go out there and really get that hype train going for this guy. To end off this video, let's just go over to the NCAA one more time. Is he still #1? Yeah, no, he is. He's #1 in NCAA scoring, and it's really interesting because the #2 guy is Zam Plante, playing for Minnesota-Duluth, who happens to, if I recall correctly, be Plante's brother. Oh my goodness. 2 Plantes at the top of the NCAA. Zam Plante is 21. Max Plante is 19. They're both atop the NCAA in point production. That is absolutely phenomenal. If you enjoyed this video, and if you want to get some thoughts out there on Brett Hull, Max Plante, the record being broken, and everything else in between, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.